Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining on to day 2 of our Women's History Month conference, the Women Connect. This is something that we want to make sure not only are those that are pursuing a career within the gaming or esports industry, but just women in general, that you have some key quick tips, also just industry experts that know essentially what it is that you're going through, hurdles and boundaries that you might have to endure coming into any industry, let alone the gaming and esports industry. But the best part of today is that you'll be talking to women from Version1. So shout out to all of the ladies from Version1 that will be talking today. This is going to be an amazing panel, giving you, like I said, key insights on how to get into the industry, let alone just ways that we and women at Version1 have overcame any of the boundaries or any of the obstacles that come into being a woman trying to get into a very trailblazing type of workforce. So thank you once again to all of our Version1 women, and we are super excited to have you. So let's go ahead and start with a couple introductions. As we all know, my name is Justice Miranda. I am Director of Operations for Gaming Community Co. We're a nonprofit that gears to help BIPOC students and all of those that are within that industry, making sure that they can get into esports and gaming as fluidly as possible. And we do that through things like this, making sure that we are giving these one-on-one touch points to students or just people that are looking to get into gaming and esports as much as possible. So I want to make sure that we go around to our panel and say just hey, and see what they are doing, what their role is currently at Version1, and essentially how long they've been working at Version1. So let's start off with Annie. Annie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am awesome. It's Tuesday. Hey, we're going to chalk everything up to daylight savings. That's my whole thing for point. But other than that, doing great. Great to meet you. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, my name is Annie Scott Riley, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Version1. I've been with the company about 3.5 years, and yeah, I'm really excited to talk with you all today.
Annie. Awesome. How about you, Ashley?
Hi, thank you for having us. I appreciate it. My name is Ashley Glassel. I'm the Director of Content here at Version1. I've been working at the company for just about, 3.5 years like Annie, and I've worked in esports / gaming content creation since 2010, and I'll use worked in kind of loosely because there was no money at the start. It was just a passion project that I had, creating content around video games. But as my career developed and those opportunities came, I rode the wave. So happy to be here, and I'm excited.
Ashley was the second employee at this company. I was the third one.
That is so crazy. A lot of people will think that like these companies, oh yeah, they're 10, 20 plus years in the game. And it's like, no, actually, I've been here for this amount of time. We're still babies here. Like we are willing to be toddlers and eventually become preteens, but we're still growing within this sector. So no, shout out to both of you, Ashley and Annie. You're the OGs of Version1. I'm here for it. Allie, what about you?
Hi, I'm Allie Rooney. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager, and I've also been here for around 3.5 years. I don't know what number employee I was. I always say like 6. There was like 3 of us that joined at the same time, but so around the 6th, 7th employee at
You're 6 in my book, Allie.
Yeah, at Rocker. So yeah, really excited to be here.
Awesome. And Kenzee, last but of course not least.
Hi, I'm Kenzee Johnson. I am People Operations and HQ Coordinator here at Version1. I am the baby of the group, and my numbers are in the double digits. I've been here for a little less than a year, so coming up on my 1 year in a couple months, and just taking it all in.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations to you all for being women at Version1, at Rocker, to be able to really break the glass ceiling. That's what these conversations are about, is you are now essentially trailblazing and setting the path for young ladies that will want to be in your shoes in the future. And you're being able to break those boundaries, break those ceilings to say, you won't have to go through the same things that I'm going through. I'm hoping what I am giving you today is going to be key insights for what you face in the future. So that is actually going into my first question. Knowing that, some people 1 year in, 3 years in, 7 years in, I just want to see, like, how did you land this career at Version1? Version1 or at Rocker? And, you know, what were some key insights that you might give to somebody that is looking to be in your shoes one day?
I'll start just by saying the way we built our staff from the beginning has really been a three-legged stool. First leg of that being esports experience. You know, we want people who are gaming industry experts, who understand these communities, and who really, really get how to talk to these people. And then the second leg of the stool would be traditional sports marketing. Brett Diamond, our COO, Chris Vanderbeek, our director of events, a lot of our staff has come from the traditional sports world, and they bring a lot of kind of institutional knowledge to esports that has helped us to really build things in a unique way. And then the third leg of the stool is people from sort of outside of that world, people from advertising agencies, people with experience out in like music, fashion, culture, people who know how to make things relevant to the masses. Because what we saw when we first started this company was that esports was really good at marketing to esports fans and not really good at getting outside of its bubble. So we wanted those people from outside the industry to kind of help grow that thing. So my advice, and I'll let others chime in as well, but my advice to anyone looking to enter this industry is get really good at something. If you're a gamer and you're like obsessed with it, like that's great. Learn how to talk to your community, you know, make sure that you know the most about all the different players in the scene. And if you're, you know, if you are a website developer, be the best at that. Esports companies have websites, you know, it's whatever you do, we need that.
Agree. That's actually something that I always, and I will continue to reiterate, that is the fact that just like any other industry, gaming and esports needs all of those same departments. We still need a legal department. We still need marketing and branding. It's not like some just random place that everybody fits into. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, you can find a space for yourself within esports and gaming. So I love that. Awesome, Annie.
Yeah, I'll jump in, and I'm the last leg of the stool where I came into this position not having any, you know, background in esports or gaming. I believe the first question that I interviewed with Annie, she asked like, "Hey, are you a gamer?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." I hope that's not a problem. Right. And her response was, "No, of course not." Like, you know, what stuck out about my resume when she, you know, when she was looking to hire the position was, you know, the skills and experience that someone can bring to the table. And I think that is, you know, why I think I landed the job at Version1 was because I was working at an advertising agency. I had all this like really extensive agency background, but was ready to make the transition to working for a singular brand and working for the internal marketing company and taking all the things that I've learned from the agency world and being able to help grow a brand and yeah, to help it be successful. So I think that is, how I was able to kind of step into this world of esports and make a place for myself.
I'm going to add on to that too, as the esports leg of the stool. You know, I've been around it for a very long time. I've watched it grow, and even for as long as I've been involved and watching it and being a part of it, it's still so young. There's still a lot of learning to do. And one of the most fascinating things that I found, because to Annie's point, like the esports crowd loves itself. Like we are very kind of stuck in our ways. Like we don't really know what we don't know at a certain point. And so to have a combination of, you know, knowing your audience, knowing what they want to hear, knowing how to speak to them, but also adding in that traditional kind of style of marketing or events. I think that's one of the things that I've enjoyed, you know, working, you know, learning and working here is kind of everyone is such a badass at their position, and watching them come in, it's like it's dramatic, but it's like the Avengers, man. It's like watching everybody come in with their expertise, come in from their angle and say, hey, you know, traditional sports does it like this, and here's how we should market it, and here's how it makes sense to, you know, the esports fandom. That's riding that has been really, really cool as a part of the team.
not going to piggyback. It'd be really fun to be like, oh, I'm the other leg, but I'm not, unfortunately. I'm the third leg. I come from a background that, again, had nothing really to do with esports. I remember, I think in my interview with Annie as well, she asked like what games I like to play. And I was like, I'd like to play Pac-Man. And like, there's no pro Pac-Man, but I was like, that's my game. That's what I like. And so I kind of, in my resume had a lot of different points of different skill sets that I really mastered over working in different industries and different roles that kind of really went along with what Version1 was looking for. And I was really eager to continue to learn and grow through like learning, hands-on, what is esports? Like, what is that? When I have this piece of knowledge that's a lot of, I know how to do my role and I can do my role really well, but how can I increase and my value and learn exactly like what esports is and become a part of that community as well?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that a lot of, especially women, right? Like there are things that like are super hyper focused for women to be in, like you need to be in health, you need to be in the medical industry, you need to be in operations and give some organization to a company. But it's like, at the same time, everything that it is that I'm amazing at can still be done within a gaming space. And there are spaces for me and my expertise and what I know I am just super vigilant in to make sure that this is what I am adding to a company. Because a lot of us, I think, will be in a position to where it's like, I'm just not good enough. Or there are certain things that I can't say that I do that other people might do super well. Well, that is the point, right? It's like, I'm great at something, whereas Kenzee is great at something else. And then Annie is great at something else. That's why we together make a great team. But leading into it, a lot of people will be discouraged saying, well, I don't want to apply to Version1 or Rocker because I don't have this expertise or this experience. But no, it's not about that. It's being, just super vigilant and also making sure that whatever it is that you're passionate about and what you love to do, that you are a super rock star in that field. And then you come into that with your experience and make sure that people at least see that. But also knowing that this industry is not like the other industries. Like, just like you all were saying, like esports, there's a certain fandom that comes with this. There's a certain protocol, rules, and processes and procedures that you need to know. Something that I think a lot of women that want to get in this industry would like to know is, what is that differentiation? So if you came from a background that was not esports and gaming prior to this, how did that change for you once you came into this type of environment? And also, like how was that transition process for you once you got into Version1?
Yeah, I can answer that. I think that I really had to focus on the fact that I was going to be learning a lot. Like I wasn't going to continue to learn how to, do Excel sheets and how to be organized and, how to do what I already knew what I was doing, but to learn and take a backseat and just watch and listen and like embrace everything with like a full heart and just know that I'm not going to know everything and I'm not going to pick up everything very quickly either. You're going to, learn about different games. You're going to learn about different styles. You're going to have so many different people that have so many different backgrounds. So really like opening up and just embracing everything really is a big key to entering into the esports world and just knowing that like taking it as like, okay, you're kind of in school. So like you're learning and like having fun with it. And you find the parts that you really love and the games that you're like obsessed with. And you're like, oh, I want to watch that all the time. And you get really into it and you find your niches. But then also just having an open mind to just learn everything and always take advice, always watch other people, ask questions, be engaged as much as you can, especially as you're first starting. That gives you kind of, you can see, different fans, you can see, different orgs, how they do things, like what that looks like to them, what it looks like to somebody who's been in the gaming world for so long. But then you can take little pieces from everything and just create like your own world that you start to become a part of. And then that then feeds into the esports world.
So Kenzee, are you saying that it's like okay to be human?
Yeah, I think it is. I think so. It's a hard one to learn, but it really is okay to be human and know that you're not going to know everything. And it's always going to be something new. I mean, I think I learn something new every 5 seconds. I'm always asking questions. I'm always like, oh, I didn't even know what that meant, but now I do. So I love that.
Yeah, it's like I am willing to be an open book, but I'm also willing to read the book that you are giving to me as well.
For sure.
I love that. And I think that's something that all of us will probably go through or have already gone through, is determining what like work-life balance looks like for us. So I would love to ask you all, what does that look like, knowing that you're in the gaming and esports realm? Everything is fast-paced, everything is high demand. We're looking at things that change in a second. For us to be sure that it's coming back to us within the certain amount of time, making sure contracts are sent out, talent is good. Like, there are so many different levels to what goes on within esports and gaming, just like any other field. But knowing that it is so fast paced, how is that for you, creating work-life balance?
I'll chime in first here. I think it's super fast paced, and that's what I love about it. I don't like the idea of going to work every day and I know exactly what I'm going to do, and it's all like I'm just there and I'm mindless and I'm not thinking, and then I clock out and I go home and I don't think about it the rest of the day. That is not typically how esports works. Whether you're following looking at content trends and what type of things should we be creating, or hey, surprise, your team qualified for a tournament and it's this weekend. So it's all very fast moving. I would say, and even before I was at Version1, you know, I was working in content in the industry, and it's very much like a grind, like get up, be consistent. And I would say I balanced it out by kind of knowing like when the fast and slow times were. So like if there's a huge major at the end of this month, like it's going to be, you know, you're going to be pressed. There's going to be a lot to figure out in a short period of time. But you want to make sure that you're on top of that. And then you take your breather where you can, and then you hop right back into it. I personally really like that style. I like, you know, always having something big coming up and always working towards something, rather than, okay, I come in and I do the thing and then I leave. I love that, you know, there's always something going on and something new to figure out.
Yeah, I'll add to that like there is a certain like love of like just being busy in this in this job. At least personally for me, I think no matter what job I'm in, there's a certain level of I like to be busy, and to what Ashley said, there's something new every day. There's, you know, a new tournament coming up to get excited about. I know personally for me, to help with burnout, yes, definitely taking a look at what's coming up ahead, seeing, hey, we don't have all three of our teams playing this weekend. Maybe this is a good weekend, you know, to take a Friday off and use that PTO. Like I always tell my people that report to me that like, use your PTO, that's what it's there for. And speaking of team too, like how I've tried to avoid burnout is like reaching out to my coworkers, reaching out to my team, because that's what they're there for. We're here to work together. And if I'm feeling burnt out, or if I have too much on my plate, you know, raising your hand and asking for help. I have a great manager. I have great direct reports that are all there for me, so that I don't burn myself out. And then lastly, I would say something that I've learned as I've advanced through my career is to set healthy boundaries. Luckily at Version1, I didn't have to do this, but I've given a lot of advice to people in the past from my past jobs where, you know, making sure that you're setting those healthy boundaries with your coworkers or your boss to ensure that you have that balance.
I also very much espouse the setting the boundaries. I'm a little bit different from the rest of the team on the call here, just because I have 2 children, which makes work-life balance just a little more hectic. I don't know. You all have pets. You all have things that you're doing outside of work. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I have kids, so you don't understand. But it is tricky. You know, one of the first things I put on my to-do list when we got started with Version1 was schedule magnets. And I was like, yeah, it would be really cool if we like put out a schedule just like a sports team, and like everybody gets this magnet and then they know when to tune into our matches, right? Schedule magnets are not possible in esports. And I like cried crossing that off my list like 2.5 years in, when I realized it was still there, because you never know what you're going to qualify for. And then you find out from the league, oh, actually, you're tied with this other team. You're going to have a tiebreaker match this weekend. And you're like, what? no one's working this weekend. And it's just mad crazy. So, I mean, everybody just does the best they can, right? Like you just kind of have to take it one day at a time and go, okay, this day looks a little hairy, but we're gonna get through it. And everybody that needs to be fed will be fed, and every box that needs to be checked will be checked.
And I'll piggyback off of what Allie said too about like having a team. And I think, here we create a really good environment that we kind of, it's fun to come to work, but it's also fun to do events and stuff too. Like, even though like some people think, oh, I have to work on Saturday. Like that isn't like, ugh, I just work Monday to Friday. Now I have to work on Saturday too. But when you come into a space that, everybody is like excited that you're there, you're excited to be there, you're around people that are like-minded, people who continue to drive you to just be better, it creates a community that's really fun to be around. And, I try to get even just like my friends and my family involved as well. That way, sometimes, if I have a watch party, it's not like I am strictly focused on working. Like I'm there to hang out with fans and I get to talk to my coworkers, and then I might have a friend or two that I can like introduce to this world. So I think like always, finding the brightness in times that would seem like they would suck is always something that I try to do, like whenever, we're really busy or there's a lot going on. And I think, another thing is schedule blocks. Those are my favorite. I am the master of the calendars here. I think I could, work at Outlook at this point. I'll just build everybody's calendar forever. That's like my favorite thing to do, and I love it. And so, something that I really like learned, especially coming into here, is sometimes you have to just set those time blocks. Like it's not really a meeting. It's almost like a meeting with yourself. Like you need a meeting with yourself to put yourself in check of like, okay, I have all these things to do. This is what came in. Like, let me prioritize that. But I know that I have those specific times set aside to do that work. That way I'm not like busy all day. And then I'm like, oh, I got nothing that I actually wanted to get done at the end of the day. So now I have to do it at home. Like setting those good, structuring your calendar is always super major plus.
No, yeah, agreed. I am the queen of a schedule, queen of a block, queen of a PTO or an OOO, to where it's like, hey, it's time. I'm going ahead and setting my automatic replies. This is what it is. But also understanding the fact, and I love your point, Kenzee, because that's exactly what I do. I am a person that, like, I will always say I am a bejeweled Candy Crush type of girl. So that's as far as gaming type goes for me. But I love being able to do my role within the gaming industry because there are so many people that are in my family network, my friend network, that they relate to this a lot more than I do as far as esports and gaming specific. But then they see me working in my same element that I would have worked at another company, and just doing it like 10 times better because I actually love what I'm doing. And we might not have jobs where it's Monday through Friday, clock in and out. But at the same time, if I am working on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm traveling to like LA, or I'm going to like Florida, or, like there are different things to where it's like, highs and lows. But at the same time, if you continuously keep it, that's how I think is an optimistic attitude as to how can I get the best experience out of this during this time. That is what I'm trying to focus on. And some people might be like, hey, it's selfish for you to invite your family to an event. No, it's not. You don't understand that I probably don't see my family 6 or 7 days out of the week. So the one time that I can invite them to something, because a lot of the times it probably is just myself or my team that is allowed to go to something, I am going to invite them. And it is going to be an amazing, joyous occasion. So understanding that, I think is something that is pivotal for especially women in the industry, because I think that's something that hinders us as well, is like, I won't invite my family because I don't want anybody to impede on the event that's going on. Please, your kids are probably going to go and they're going to game and they're probably going to enjoy themselves. Your husband's probably going to be somewhere else talking and chopping it up with somebody to say, hey, these are the different ventures that I have going on. And so there are so many different playing parts to where I can still do my role fully and then allow my family, friends to be able to be a part of what it is that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. So I love every point that you all, have brought up. And I think that this is a great way to segue into just yourself, like understanding first and foremost that the careers that you have are things that people dream of first and foremost. So kudos and congratulations to you all that are women in the industry that have at least secured these careers, but also that you're excelling in these careers, that you have still been with the company for so long, and also that you are then leading experience and expertise to those that are trying to be in your shoes. So I would love to know, just a few things that is your favorite part about your role, about what you do on a day-to-day basis. And essentially, what can you give to somebody else to say, hey, if you're looking at something like this, realize that there's a little gold pot, or there's a little, like, I'm stealing people's phrases this week, a fairy dust that is coming in that I can sprinkle in. So think about things like that. But what are some highlights of your role specifically at Version1 Rocker?
Ashley,
Go ahead, Ellen.
Oh, okay.
So many favorite parts. I love it.
I was gonna say that definitely my favorite thing about working for Version1 is just the new experiences, like the new and fun experiences that I've been able to have that I wouldn't have otherwise in my previous jobs or careers. I think too, it's working for a smaller company. It allows me to learn from the other departments in the organization. For example, like I work extremely close with our like content and production team. And I currently kind of help lead on the marketing side for our merchandise, and learning kind of the ins and outs of like merchandise design and like a photo shoot and a video shoot, and like almost being like a production assistant on a set. And getting to see the ins and outs. Like I've learned so much from those experiences that I never would have learned in my old jobs. And I really value that experience. And I think it's something unique that I know a lot of esports organizations are on the smaller side. So it allows for a lot of collaboration across the different departments, which is really cool.
Justice, I really like what you said when you were asking the question about like there's people out there who are looking at this, you know, industry or certain positions, and they're just wanting it so bad. And I often think back to like, even if I would have told myself like 6 years ago, but I'll go all the way back and say like 10, 12 years, like if I were to tell myself what I do every day now, I would have thought that was so freaking cool, man. I would have been like, what? No shot. Like, there's no way. And so that is something like, you know, that really like keeps me going, keeps me motivated, knowing how much, you know, I appreciate, you know, this opportunity, this industry, and everything that's happening. But I would say the thing I've most kind of enjoyed about working at Version1 is meeting all the amazing people. You know, I've met some really, really, truly amazing people here at this company. And having been so fortunate to have been the second employee hired on, like I have watched every other person get hired. I've interviewed everyone. I've made, you know, the connection between our roles. And that's been really, really cool. I've learned so much from other people, whether it's a department or just another person who I'm like, you know, I don't have a ton of like traditional experience. I was raised through my career in esports. So learning the more traditional side of things has really helped me kind of hone. I have a nickname at the office called Corporate Midnight. Because that was obviously Midnight was my creator name. And so they call me Corporate Midnight if I'm picking up on stuff. But yeah, I would just say learning the production ropes, learning about how events are executed has actually been really, really cool for me. Like I've always just been a person who shows up to a LAN event and assumes that everything is it just appeared there, but there is an intense amount of work that goes into that. And yeah, so I would just say the people and learning from everyone has been my favorite part.
I will say that the people are also a huge thing for me, and I'll just show you two examples. This is a penguin that our senior art director crocheted for me one day and placed on my desk.
I love that.
This is a tiny frog. Someone has been going all over our office and leaving these tiny frogs everywhere. And it's amazing. I work with maniacs. I love them. I deeply love the people that we work with. But then I would also just say that I love working in entertainment above all. I've been in marketing and creative for a very long time, and I have marketed air conditioners, gas, like anything you can think of. And being in entertainment is incredible because you're not trying to sell somebody something they don't need. You're not trying to convince somebody of something or solve a problem. You're just going, hey, do you like video games? Like want to watch them with us? Like it's the very best thing to work in. And we're really doing something that's positive in the world, giving people, you know, a place to escape to and a community to be part of. So I really love that.
I agree with everything that everybody said. You know, the people really make this job so much better. They, you know, one of my favorite phrases is to embrace the suck. You know, and I feel like we really do that here. You know, there's never something that's really going to just put everybody down. Like somebody's always going to jump in with something funny or make light of the situation, to make it so that, you know, you don't feel so bad whenever times are not the most fun. And, you know, I can count on all of my coworkers to, you know, if I need help, if like they're there. But they're also there in a fun way too, you know, like the frogs, you know, those just started popping up around the office and everybody, you know, started looking for them. And, you know, it was something that was so fun and it became a game that's like, okay, who's doing this frogs? And it's like, are you doing it? Or are you doing it? And just learning, you know, about different people, like where they come from, like everybody here is from such a different background, that no two people are alike, you know, and you can learn their stories and learn how they work. And really just, you know, take from that, you know, take what their skills are that you might not have, like, and everybody here is always so like receptive to receiving, you know, not really criticism, but like, hey, this is how we can improve this and this is how we can do better. But they're also really good about giving like praise. Like it's always, you know, hey, you're doing an amazing job. Like, I don't think I come to work and I don't leave without getting a compliment somewhere, because everybody's really, you know, always looking to praise people and to pick them up and to make them feel seen. Even though, you know, it is a smaller org, sometimes, you know, everybody's so busy doing things that it's just like everybody's always in their own little buckets, and, you know, everybody's always then outpouring with so much support for everybody else. And that makes, you know, it's so much easier whenever the suck comes, because, you know, we all embrace it and it's fun.
Great. Now, and I think everything that you all pointed out is something that we can genuinely say is a differentiator because of the esports and gaming industry. Like there are some backgrounds or some ways that you can go within your career, and it will never be like that, to where there is always some scrutiny. There might not ever be an optimistic person. We're always talking about the numbers. We're always talking about what the ROI is at the end of an event. But there's so much that goes into it for us that are working within this industry, that we understand the fact that even the minuscule things, even the small things that a lot of people don't think about, those are highlighters. And we want to make sure that you know that you did this, even if it is just ordering our lunch for the day. I've been in that position so many times to where it's like, oh my gosh, Justice, you knew that I was a vegetarian? Heck yeah, I did. I saw that you only eat these types of things. So I thought that I would go ahead and order you a vegetarian meal just in case. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, and understanding the fact that within this industry, as far as esports and gaming, also that there is not only just the praise, but also the kind of like the credit for that comes with what it is that you created. So when you do this huge tournament and you do rent out a convention center and you do get all of the vendors set up, you get all the players set up, you get all the casters and the hosts, even those people are coming back to you and they're saying, thank you so much for creating this space for me, not only to be comfortable, but also to pursue what it is that I want to do in my own career. So we're helping other people within their own careers, but also helping them get to their goals and be able to obtain something that probably, even I think we can say this ourselves, 5-10 years ago, in their mind would not even be possible. I can go and I can play video games and be professional and be able to get paid from this. Not even in my mind, but now it's like, no, I can do this. And the reason I can do it is because of these rock star ladies that are sitting here and they're making this happen for me. But I just want to also point out this last point of within these types of settings of esports and gaming, I think that women especially are undervalued because of the organizational structure that just goes on automatically in our minds. And so when we come into some of these folds, it's like, a lot of people are not thinking about the day-to-day things. And so what you're pointing out to me is the fact that at Version1 Rocker, this is something that is pointed out. This is something that is saluted. This is something that is given always the gratitude and the thank yous for being able to do these minute, even little things, all the way down to the big things of making it happen. But it is people like yourselves that are making it happen in the background. So big kudos to you all for being able to make some of these events happen, but also shining a light on the fact that because we're in this type of industry, there's a different type of not only praise, but also need that is given once it is set to say, this is our project goals, these are our target goals, which a lot of companies do not have the same thing, but also a lot of people are not able to relate in those type of demographics. Whereas esports and gaming, everybody will within our target demographics, they're like, heck yeah, I game. Heck yeah, I do this. Yep, I sure will. I'll do this any day with you. And it's like, okay, awesome. Whereas if I talk to you about water heaters, you might sit here and be like, I really don't even know if I need one right now. So it just gives a different type of perspective and a different conversation, which I think always keeps us not only on our toes, but also excited about what's coming next, what is in the pipeline, and so forth and so on. So I think this next question is perfect to kind of lead into that. So Kenzee, we know that you are, you said schedule and everything from operations and background, but tell us some things or tell the people some things that we might not understand. Hey, and I will kudos you, Kenzee, you already know, you and I are always one-on-one when it comes to our conversation. So operations is something that a lot of people do not think about when it comes into the play, not only of esports and gaming, but just in general, to say, hey, in the background, these things still need to happen, all the way down to scheduling our PTO time and our out of office time. So just wanted to see, what does that look like for you? And what are some things that, people might not think that you do within your operations role, especially within a pro team?
Yeah, for sure. So with operations, you have a lot of different moving pieces. It's a lot of different moving parts. And you're kind of trying to just make it flow and work really, really smoothly for everybody. And I think, a good thing that I had to learn, especially like when I came here, was that not everything's always going to fit perfectly, and that's okay. And I think, you really learn people in ops. And so, yeah, you learn that somebody's a vegetarian. You learn that this person likes to fly in the mornings. You learn this person, needs a specific type of hotel room. And so you really get to know people so like down to the nitty gritty, like things. And you can then use those to, hey, I know you have a trip coming up. And so I did this specific thing because I know that you would probably like it. And then it just gives those people little touches that, they might not always get. And, having an organization piece behind an org is huge. It's, as from as small as making sure that somebody has, getting to their meetings on time, to making sure that every person is flying on the same exact flight at the same time, around the same area on the airplane, in the type of seat that they want to sit in. And I think, for me, one of the biggest things that I have to remember every day is that organization is my friend. And I might be the biggest nerd when it comes to Excel documents and Outlook calendars, but it's what I do best, and it helps everybody. What I think, I make myself feel small sometimes of oh, well, you're just doing their calendar. That's not a big deal. But then I'm okay, no, if you didn't do their calendar, it would be a mess, and everything would be a mess, and everybody would be running around here with their head cut off, and there would be no organization. So I always, have to take time to realize that the small things really do matter. And those little pieces, even though, they might not seem so big to other people sometimes, they're really big for me, because then I can help others create such a good flowing workspace. And that way, if they don't have to worry about their calendar, then they can focus on what they need to be doing. If they don't have to worry about getting their flight, getting their hotel, getting meals ordered, having catering in, I can take that on. And that's stuff that I genuinely enjoy doing. And then that gives them the freedom to then continue to grow our org in other ways. And it's a really big moving wheel. And, sometimes I think, ops people can tend to feel small, and, you're in the background and you're not in the face of everything. You're not at every event. You're not, you're doing the stuff that, some people think is really not that fun. Going and getting coffee and running errands and picking up supplies and figuring out what paper towels are the best for the office. But if that's stuff that just sometimes excites you, that is something that can make a world of a difference in ops, is just having those things that you are just really good at that can turn into a role. I think whenever I came in, I didn't realize oh, I'm really good at these things, but I didn't realize that that was going to be my job. And now I'm okay, I love it, because I do everything that I like to do that some people just don't love to do. And I get to take that off their hands. And so they can do the things that they love to do. And in return, I get to do things that I like all day. And I get to do things that, not everybody always loves to do, but I'm like, I will do it. Let me order you coffee. Let me order the lunch. Let me book your flight. Like it comes, with a lot of like moving pieces and small parts, but thinking about it, you're just a gear. And if your gear was out of the wheel's not going to run.
Amen to that. And I think within the roles that we have behind the scenes, that we might not be those front facing people, the people that genuinely know that we are there, they're the ones that really give us our shout outs. And they're the ones that really give us our cookies to sit here and say, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for making, and that's another thing within gaming and esports that I think a lot of people don't realize. In certain aspects, in certain departments, in certain corporate companies, the experience might not be what is people's like main thing to make sure that is good. And within gaming and esports, you have to make sure that the experience is top tier. You have to make sure that your players are set, your casters, your hosts, even down to the execs that are coming in, flying in. We need to make this look not only like this is what we've been working on for the past 6 months to a year, but also the fact that we genuinely thought about you when we did this. And we want to make sure that you feel special when this is being done. So big shout out to you, Kenzee, for being able to do those things in the background, because a lot of people we don't think about it. And these are things that it's just like, yeah, I mean, an intern can get our coffee. Well, where's the intern at? Like when you find them, you let me know and we'll call them too. And we'll have them get the coffee. But until that's done, Kenzee will be ordering the coffee, just as we'll be making sure that you have your mocha latte, double stirred, flipped upside down with almond milk. Like that is, people think like, oh my gosh, who really needs that? My streamer needs that. My caster needs that. And it's okay for me to make sure that that is being done. But those little minor things for people that things like myself and Kate, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, this is embarrassing. I don't just worry about this. But little do you know, these lead into the bigger scope of what this event will be. Also, what our partners will be willing to do with us in the future. If we made a horrible experience, if we decided to order somebody beef and they're a vegetarian, they will never come back with us. They will sit here and say, I'm good. You didn't even consider what it is that I gave you. Like, these are things that really make for our good company culture that says our next partner or the next caster or streamer or host, they want to work with us because we made sure that they had an amazing experience, let alone people don't talk about it, Kenzee, but the fact that we make sure that the people that we set up their meetings for, that they will have those conversations leading on besides just this. So it won't be like a one-off situation. I'll make sure that you have your schedule set up for ongoing conversations and that we can make this a bigger play than what we're just talking about right now. So a lot of people will listen to the conversation or see our roles and be like, okay, operation sounds good. You don't realize all of the things that are going on in the background. So big shout out to you, Kenzee, for making sure that that's happening. I connect with you one-on-one, of course, but also understanding that our role is just one within the many departments that are needed to make sure that that experience is actually happening. So I do want to ask a question to Annie and Allie of, like within the marketing aspect, what does success look like for you all? And how do you all make sure that not only your teams, but also your staff is being included in whatever marketing approaches that you all want to have? And also just how do you think about making sure that the marketing teams are all on one chord?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I do want to start off by saying that I would be lost without Kenzee. She is in her position for a reason. She is so good at what she does. And I think hit the nail on the head that like Kenzee does an incredible job of making everybody here at the organization, any guests, our players feel special and feel heard, which I think is super important for any organization, is to have that go-to person that is like, I can always go to Kenzee for help. So I really appreciate that, Kenzee. But yeah, for marketing, at least, and Annie, I'm going to start off, but Annie, feel free to jump in. Especially if you disagree, but from my point of view, I think we do tackle things very similar to maybe like a traditional sports team, since like our main product and service is like first and foremost entertainment and entertaining our fans and the public. And so, but similar to any kind of brand, we tackle it, we are just finished our process of like setting our goals and our KPIs for the year that really help us kind of give ourselves some benchmarks and help us build our strategies so that we're, creating, the projects or the campaigns or events that will help us hit our goals for the year. So that's really important for us to do, that I think a lot of obviously pretty much every brand should be doing that. And then we kind of take a look at, what do we want to, looking at our goals, we want to build awareness. We want to make sure that people our target audience is aware of our brand, our teams, the events that we have. We also try to run some campaigns that where we're asking people to take a certain action. So for example, coming up selfish plug, April 1st and May 6th, we have our Minnesota Rocker Home Series event. So go buy your tickets at rockertickets.gg. But we're kind of in the midst of that campaign, where we're making sure that we're getting the word spread out about this event and where you can buy tickets. I know I mentioned earlier, I kind of help lead kind of the go-to-market strategy for all of our merchandise. So we have a lot of campaigns that we run to help, drive purchases, and things like that. So very similar to, I think, what you would think any brand or maybe traditional sports team has. We kind of deploy those same sort of strategies.
No notes.
She said it. This was perfect.
Nailed it.
Nothing added for it. No, that's awesome. But would you say and so we understand that there is a side of actual marketing where that's like email campaign. And look, I'm not a marketer, so I'm going to just kind of say it in the way that I think about it. But there's like marketing in the email campaign side. We can do guerrilla marketing. We could do Facebook ads, X, Y, and Z, but there's also like social media. That is a major presence within, of course, like the millennial age, just where we are today. So is there a differentiation for you and your go-to-market strategy for some of these events? Based on, yes, this is totally off the record, but based off of your just regular marketing campaigns versus we need to make sure that this is something that is prevalent to TikTok or Instagram or, so if there are any tips that you have in that realm as well.
Annie, do you want to tackle that one?
Sure. So yeah, being platform native is really, really important. Whatever platform you're building for, first of all, we look at who the audience is that we're trying to reach. What platforms do they use the most? And then we decide, okay, it's going to go on TikTok, so it needs to be right for TikTok. We've done so much experimentation on what works, and we found, certain types of being able to see someone's face full screen versus if you just grab a Twitch and if you just grab a Twitch clip and put it up there, then the person's head is so tiny that nobody can see it, and you're not getting the reaction and all the fun stuff that you want to see. And leaning into the trends on those platforms, I'll use TikTok again just because they do have so many exciting trends and fun things to do. Like in some cases, you can lean into those trends and get some extra love from the algorithm, but then you can't necessarily then take that same piece and put it on YouTube Shorts because that trend is not happening on YouTube Shorts and it's a fish out of water. So you really have to think about where is this content going and what are we making that's going to connect uniquely with people in that space.
Yeah, it's about strategy. It's not the fact that I can just post on Instagram, now it's like I can post on Instagram and then that's just going to duplicate on my Facebook or duplicate somewhere else. It's not that simple. We need to do this strategically and make sure that the audience that we're trying to target via these specific platforms are getting the content the best way that it can be delivered, which is perfect for Ashley. So Ashley, first and foremost, I want to let you know that right now in our Twitch stream, people are going crazy. People are like, midnight, what's going on?
What up?
Yeah, it's like a whole thing right now. So I'm like viewing, which I already told people that I was going to be looking at the chat. So that's literally at the bottom of my screen where it's like midnight, exclamation, exclamation. So I want to make sure that we do ask you the question, especially knowing that right now within the social media age that we are in, people are looking and gravitating towards ways that we can not only create content, but create engaging content. What is going to get me a follower? What is going to make sure that my event, when it goes live, that people are watching and we do have the most engagement as possible? So first and foremost, why is content so important to professional organizations, but also what content do you prioritize and how do you make that happen?
Yeah, thank you. And then shout out to the chat. Give me some hearts in the chat. Let's go. We're hype. So for me, content is the most important thing. I mean, it always has been. I talked a little bit earlier about kind of where I started with, started on YouTube, just creating Call of Duty videos in my dad's house and just talking over them and saying things and then building a community around that. And so I think the biggest thing that content does is it does build a community. It brings in the empathy that they'll feel for whether you're a content creator and you're trying to make it big on Twitch, or you're a player, or if you're an org and you're trying to get people interested in what you're doing. I come from, my time before here was with Optic Gaming, where content is absolutely king. Like, obviously they want their professional teams to win and win everything, but really the backbone of that fan base was built off of content, and it was the humanizing content that they would put up, whether it was doing a stupid YouTube trend, and just being funny throughout it, or if they were doing a doc series that showed like, how does esports work? Like, and let's hear the players' thoughts on that. Like, anything that can help people connect with you more will help really embolden that community that you have following you. And so I would say, in terms of content that you should prioritize if you're out there and you're a creator yourself, or you're looking to get involved with an org or a company and you want to be on the content side, definitely like align the content with the organization and or your values, right? So what is my mission? What am I trying to do? Okay, I want viewers, I want people to subscribe to me, but yes, obviously, but what are you trying to tell people? What niche are you going into to really build and foster that fan base? Because it is a really saturated market. There are a lot of people trying to do it. And so what can you bring that is unique? And I would ask yourself that question. Don't ask me, ask yourself, like, what do I bring that's unique? What information or way to do things? Or maybe I'm really freaking good at Apex Legends and I can show everybody that and tell them how to get better. Like, there is so many opportunities, and it's really just about what do you believe, what are you good at, and what do you want to share? And from there, you'll build that community and have a great time, man. I've had a great time. I'm not gonna lie. It's been cool. This is crazy.
You're literally living your passion.
For sure. No, yeah, I've been gaming since I was 5, started video production classes when I was 12. And when I was about 20, I decided to mix gaming and video together. And then I'm right here talking to you. So that's really cool.
That is so awesome. So you were like the prodigy child. Whereas some of us are like the outlier children, to where it's like, yeah, I mean, I joined onto this because it was an amazing job, great work environment. You're like, no, I lived, breathe.
So yeah, this is my life.
Yeah.
Yes, this is what I wake up and do every day, no matter what I'm doing. I'm gaming and I'm making content or thinking about content.
That's awesome. And there are so many people that are looking at you as inspiration, which is, I think, why our chat is literally,
shout out to them. I don't have the chat open. I'm going to go back and look.
Yeah, they're going crazy. They're like, oh my gosh, they love you 100%. Bring back the dog day. Listen, okay. Needs to happen. But making sure, like, also understand exactly what you were just talking about, Ashley, in the fact that, a lot of gaming companies, or just companies in general, there are things that are highlights and lowlights. But what for you and everybody in the group, what for you is like a highlight in working with Version1 specifically? And like, how do you feel Version1 differs from any other of the massive gaming companies that we have?
I'll go first really quick. I would say, so I haven't worked with a ton of other organizations in the industry or in the industry. I was either working with another organization for a very long time and myself, right? So I don't have a lot to compare it to, but within working in the industry, and this isn't speaking on any past employers, just situations that you go to an event and, you're working with a group of new people and you're trying to figure stuff out. There was this feeling of not really being taken seriously because of, my biological gender. So like I would say something, I could tell that it wasn't, you know, taken with a full grain of salt. And there would be opportunities where I would even say something and then maybe it would get changed a tiny bit and then said by someone else who happened to be a man. And they were like, that's an amazing idea, dude. You nailed it. So the number one thing I would say about here at Version1 is knowing that we take each other seriously, no matter where we're from, who we are, you know, everyone's here to do a job, and everyone I think is heard and valued in that way. Like, I don't feel like I can't say something. I mean, they'll tell you, my coworkers will tell you, I'll say anything. So I'll say my opinion on stuff, or I'll say what I think is going to work or not work. And having the freedom to do that, not a lot of people have that where they work. They feel like, oh, well, what are they going to think of this? And then my supervisor's going to think that. And like, just be free. We're all here with a common goal, and feeling listened to and heard is super important. I said I was going to keep that short, but I did not. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's I love being heard, man. That's what I would say is my number one favorite thing.
I love that.
Yeah, there's a general level of respect that is had amongst everyone in our organization. Just to kind of piggyback off of Ashley there, definitely can say that for sure.
Awesome.
Version1 does a really good job of making you feel seen, but also making you feel safe, which I think is a really big thing. Especially for me, you know, I belong to many different communities. You know, I'm biracial. I'm a woman. I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and you know, I don't just feel seen. You know, oh, like, let's put something up this month, like about that, or hey, like, it's Pride Month, like we're gonna post a rainbow and we're gonna change our logo to be a rainbow. Like, it's genuine conversation of like, hey, like, how can we, like, how does this sound to you? Like, does this make you feel safe? Like, is this something that you are okay with us doing? Like, can we have your opinion on that? Like, does that reflect the views that you see for your community? And like, always taking, you know, everybody's backgrounds and everybody's communities and making them feel seen, but also safe, which is really like important. I think like we really value everybody's safety here, and making sure that, you know, we're always continuing to get feedback, and there's always, you know, just everything's always a discussion. Like, if you have an input, like, nothing is invaluable, like nothing is small, there's no stupid questions, there's no stupid ideas, you know, you feel safe enough to speak up and be like, I don't really agree with that, or like, that's not really a good look. And know that whenever you do speak up and you do say those things, that it's taken, you know, with respect and with, you know, an open heart and with an open mind, and like, oh, okay, your points were, you know, great, and like, now let's go back to the drawing board because let's rethink this in a different way. And then, you know, most of the time they'll bring you back in on those things and be like, hey, okay, we revised it, how does this feel now? And like, you know, it's always a working thing of like, if we can do better, we're going to do better, to make sure that, you know, not just everybody that works here is safe, but, you know, and feels seen and feels heard, and, you know, feels like, you know, they're not just a number and they're not a statistic or like a pretty colored flag. Like, they are a person and they are seen, and this is a safe space for them.
No, that's awesome. You're letting me know that Version1 is a place that is inclusive, and that, you know, everybody doesn't fight to have their voice heard, but people are genuinely asking to have your voice be spoken up on, which is amazing. Now, we can't say the same for a lot of other industries, and we can't say the same for a lot of women in a lot of other industries. So let's speak specifically to, you know, esports and gaming. Do you feel as a woman that what you go through within this industry is a little bit more tearing or a little heavier on you mentally than it would be for your counterparts? So just holistically, how do you think that being a woman within your profession, does that come with any extra mental issues or mental health barriers that you want to make sure that you're overcoming within yourself? And it doesn't have to be specific in the fact that you're working at Version1, but just in the fact that you're working within esports and gaming, and that it has not been a female dominated space ever. So now, knowing that, is there anything that you deal with mentally, physically, emotionally that would be just great insights for us as other women that would love to be in your shoes one day?
Honestly, for me, it's like dealing with the surprise of it happening sometimes, where like I'm so recklessly confident, like I worked twice as hard as any guy to get to where I am. So I'm like, I'm amazing, like take me. And then once in a while, you know, we're at an event and you're like dealing with someone from another team or something like that. And, you know, we have so many women in our office, it doesn't even occur to me what gender people are. But you're out of your usual zone and you're talking to someone from another team and you're like, oh my God, are they acting weird because I'm a woman?
Is this happening
the
right now?
shock and the
Right,
surprise
right.
is yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's doing this job is just like it would be if I were a man. I just have boobs.
I love that.
Yeah, I would say like I agree with Annie that at version 1, I never have felt that way, but I see it obviously happening to you know, whether it's on social media or to our content creators that are women. You know, I'm tuned into their streams and I see, you know, the awful things that are being thrown their way in their chat. I see it in the media, in the public. And I think same with Annie, like going into this industry, I had a level of confidence that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be okay. And maybe I didn't quite understand a lot of it, because I was new to the industry. But now that I've seen it, I definitely, you know, try to be an advocate for just women in gaming. And I'm really proud to work for version 1 because we're I don't know how many at this point, but we have a lot of women that work at version 1.
About 50-50. Yeah.
About 50-50. So I think it's really, really cool to be a part of an organization that has that level of representation.
Yeah, and something that I want to make known to those that are watching on this stream is the reason why we're having this panel is the fact that it's Women's History Month. So we want to make sure that those that have trailblazed and broke the ceiling for people like myself and those that are on this panel, that we give you the insights as to how we got into this industry ourselves. Not in any way to say that our sex or our gender is the reason why we're in these spaces, not to say that that is what makes us any more of an advantage or any less of an advantage. It's just the fact that there are some things that we will deal with as a woman that other people will not. Or to what Annie said, the fact that I have boobs, there are things that I will deal with that other people will not because they do not have the same type of bodily structure that I might have. So there are things that we just have to make sure that down to, like I said, the fact that we are giving these just quick tips to say, hey, there are certain spaces. First and foremost, I think that is probably the main thing that I am gaining from this conversation is don't devalue or decredit yourself by working for a company that doesn't already value you as yourself. That's period. Across the board, no matter where it is that you're going or what company you're working for, as me as a person, you need to value the work structure, the experience, everything that I've done up until this point, just for you to be able to know what it is that I bring to the table and how I can genuinely just go and really cross any boundaries that you probably would have never thought that I would have crossed. So understanding that first and foremost, but then also understanding that there are barriers and different things mentally, physically, emotionally that everybody goes through, but there are some things that we go through that other people do not. So we want to make sure that we're talking about those things and that we're highlighting them in a way that we think of it in an optimistic approach. It's not the fact that what we're bringing up is saying that there's no way for you to overcome this and every work experience is like this. No, we're not giving generalized statements. We're having these conversations with different people to make sure that everyone knows that there is a space for them and that there is a way that we relate to you in ways that other people might not relate to you. So we want to make sure that we are kind of hitting on those points as much as possible, but also understanding the fact that, hey, shout out to the good old March month of Women's History Month, that we are making those points to the women that are in the room or in the chat at any point possible. So I will go ahead and lead into one of our questions specifically. For people that are trying to be successful within this industry, What do you think is important for people to get into the industry as far as esports and gaming? What are maybe some key tips, key ways that you think, hey, your resume should look this certain way. When you interview, maybe it should look this certain way. But some tips that you could give to some other women that might be trying to fill your shoes. Hey, these are ways that either I got into the industry or ways that I suggest for anybody that's applying to get into gaming and esports for you to really shine in this way.
I'll go ahead right away. I think that I'll maybe answer it in a way that tells you like what I personally am looking for when I'm looking for somebody who's trying to emerge into the industry. I want to know, what have you done and what do you want to do? Super simple, right? You don't necessarily have to have like 10 years in esports experience to be good at a job in esports. But if you don't have that or any experience, you have to have the ability to want to learn and know that it's a little bit different than any other industry that you may have worked in. But I'll repeat something that Annie said earlier, which is, be really good at something and then bring that to esports, right? So whether you're a content creator, a player, a marketer, we have a CFO, maybe you're good with like spreadsheets and tables and numbers. It's like everybody has a role here as the industry is growing and there's all of this infrastructure that's being placed around these teams. And so I would say, you don't just have to try to be a pro player. I'm pretty sure my grandma still thinks I'm a pro player at something. Because she doesn't understand there's a whole industry around it, right? They just hear gaming and they're like, oh, you either make the game or you play the game. But no, there's this whole industry around it. And so I would just say, get really good at something. And, I'm assuming if you're applying or looking for a job in esports, there's some level of passion in there. So bring that in with you, whether you know a ton about it already or you're ready to learn.
And I can piggyback off that of, I think, you really have to hone your skills. Like if you're really good at something, like embrace and find something that fits what you're really good at and like what you really enjoy. I think something, I came into this org with, not any gaming experience, but I had experience doing all these other things that this company did need. And so we're like always remembering, like, you don't have to come from gaming. You don't have to even know, much about gaming. If anything, like, I came in here and I was like, I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you how many buttons are on a controller. Like, I don't know. But like, I knew I was really good at these other things. And like, that was okay. Cause like it was something that I knew a value that I could bring to the table, even though I didn't have, the background in esports, or I didn't know much about this, and I didn't do, I wasn't, in the community, and I didn't know anything. Like I knew what I knew, and I knew what I was good at, and I was confident enough to know that like, that's what you need. And it's okay that I don't come from that, because I'm going to bring this to the table. And again, I'm going to learn, and, always being open to learning, but also, just really find what you really like to do, and, make that a priority of like, okay, I really like to do this. So this is the type of job that I'm going to go for. Especially when you're choosing, a major in college, or when you're choosing, a career that you might want to do, like, these are things I'm really good at, and I really like to do these things. Like, what job can I now build around that? Like, instead of being like, oh, I like this job, do I have what it takes? Like, no, what do you have, and what is the job that's going to fit that?
Yeah, I feel like I always like to advise, especially like young people who are either in college or high school, that like, yeah, exactly what Kenzee said. What are like some things that you're good at from a very basic level? Are you really good at organization? Are you really good at communication? All the basics. What are your strengths, and really tie that to the job description and how you can bring value to that job description. And then layering on what Ashley said, always be willing to learn. I know with me, when it comes to hiring somebody that clearly has a lot of drive and determination just to, roll up their sleeves and just like get into it. Those are my favorite type of people to hire. Because I know whatever is thrown at them, they'll be ready to tackle it. and can be a team player and really help us get things done.
I will jump in here. Those were a bunch of great do's. So I'm going to come at you with a don't. So for those of you who might actually be deep in the gaming world and you are like, I love gaming, I want to work in gaming, I would say be careful with your resume. We get so many resumes here where someone's like, I have 10 years of experience running social medias for gaming platforms. I'm 21. And you're like, okay. So you started when you were 11. That's cool. And like, maybe you were running like the Twitter account for your clan or something. And it's just like, guys, we got to separate what professional experience and hobbies are. We're just trying to get like a clear picture of what your actual experience is and what you can do. And like, I want to know if you ran the clan for your or the social media for your clan since you were 11 years old. That is a great piece of like information, but that is not professional experience. And it can be exhausting. It can honestly get your resume thrown out. So be clear and don't try to oversell it.
Yes, don't oversell. Be yourself.
No, that's an amazing tip because I've seen a couple resumes where it's like, I was the president of my golf club in my junior year of high school. I'm like, I don't really know if that experience is relevant to what you're applying for, but we can go ahead and go with it. That's sure. So totally understandable. So we are coming down to time. So I wanted to ask maybe about 2 more questions. Some of these have already been from our Q&A section, but this one specifically is from one of the questions that were asked in our chat through our forum for today. But what are some of the most exciting projects or initiatives that you're currently working on, and what impact do you hope that they have?
Ooh. Ashley, you want to hype up home series?
Yeah, baby. We brought it up earlier, but on April 1st and May 6th, we are revolutionizing the game, or we're trying to, right? So CDL has major events where there's a LAN event, for each major series that there is. But before that is qualification matches. And we have hosted a couple majors before. It was a good, awesome, fun, amazing time. Hopefully we'll do it again in the future. But we wanted to do something that wasn't hosting a major because we got to let some other teams host them. But how can we still activate here in Minnesota and with our local rocker fans? And so we decided we would have a LAN for those qualification matches. And we talked to the other teams who were, scheduled to play. And we're like, yo, do you just want to like come LAN and do it here? Like we just do that instead of online because that's not preferable. So come on over. So with that, we're allowing fans. And so the first one's going to be on April 1st in Madison, Wisconsin. Super stoked about it. And then on May 6th in St. Paul, Minnesota, baby, let's go. We're going to have another home series match. So it's a one-day event. Come watch Rocker play twice. The other teams will play each other. And it's a good time. As someone I'm born and raised in Minnesota here where we're located, and Call of Duty is my favorite franchise, right? So bringing Call of Duty to Minnesota as routinely as we have has been really, really exciting for me, and making sure that we're giving this fan base a team and an organization to be proud of. I'm just stoked on it. So it's coming up, right? I'm still shocked. It is March 14th somehow. I don't understand how time works. So it's coming up very quickly, but we're all very, very excited about it. A ton of people have been working really, really hard behind the scenes here. And hopefully, it shows. If you come out, I'm going to be there, both events. So I'm super, super excited.
Ashley, I think that a good majority, I'm personally just jealous of the fact that everything that you've ever wanted to do in your life, you are literally in that position.
I'm very lucky. I'm insane. Sometimes I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
It's real. It's real life.
I'm very lucky in a lot of ways. So I'm just rolling with it. It's a good time.
I love it. I am going to quickly do just a little shameless plug. We also have our Rocker Rally coming up. That will be on March 27th. That is a Call of Duty league with our HBCU esports teams, some of them being Howard, Morgan State, We're bringing those together to partner with Rocker Captains, where people will go head to head, 8 teams going head to head in our Call of Duty tournament. So once again, that is March 27th. That's on a Monday from 5 to 10 p.m. It's all virtual on this exact stream that you're looking at right now. So just come back, put a calendar invite at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 27th, and come back to this exact community Twitch channel, because it's going to be awesome.
I will be hype in the chat. So a few of our creators are captaining teams as well as our players. Maybe, I don't know if you know this, is Ty Sheed playing in that?
I want to say I just saw Ty as one of the captains.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the other, HBC.
Like Ty, Ash. Yeah, it's like a whole
Yes.
roster.
Oh, there's so many great players. I just watched the series or the competition they just did on LAN a few weeks ago, and Ty Sheed's my favorite player. Slay. Let's go. I'm excited to watch. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yes, awesome. Stay at home, eat your bonbons, eat your popcorn, all of the above, but then just go crazy, as the teams keep playing. But yes, that is a $5,000 prize pool that Version1 Rocker has given to our students. So super excited to see who becomes the top 3 out of those 8 teams. As I said, once again, March 27th on this exact Twitch channel. So I will ask, I said it before that it was 2 last questions. Okay, really 2 last questions. Last one from the Q&A portion is, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and developments in esports, and what resources do you rely on? If you can give us your little tips.
I'll start as the old lady. I have an hour blocked on my calendar every Wednesday morning for what's called learning hour. What? And that is when I either I grab somebody from the staff to explain something to me that I don't understand, or I have a list of things that I want to dig deeper in. I need to go look at the back end of Twitch and figure out which metrics we can pull, or I need to dive into Sully Gnome and see which other channels it pulls from besides Twitch, and how can I use that better. And sometimes it's been just I need to watch an hour of League of Legends gameplay and see if I could just basically understand what's happening.
Yes.
So that's my trick, kind of a call back to the calendar blocking, but yeah, learning hour.
I want to let you know, Annie, that people are in the chat saying, stop it right now. You are not old. It's back to back. You are not old. Stop it. Stop it. So just so you know that our crowd says, hey, don't even think about that.
You guys are really nice. I don't mind being old. I love being old. I know shit.
Right. It's wisdom. We're here. We have wisdom that other people will not have. I love it.
You're peaking, Annie. That's awesome. My answer is pretty quick. I'm from the community, so I'm in the community, and I naturally am watching what's going on and seeing what's what. What's been super interesting to me is, watching a lot of these apps like TikTok, TikTok's not even that old, and it's one of the most popular platforms potentially of all time as it keeps going on. So I would say just being somebody who consumes that content on the day-to-day basis, following the news of what's going on, and looking at the different platforms of what seems to be hitting. I mean, even YouTube used to be one of my primary sources of income back in the day. And so I was very closely watching okay, so this format does better than this format, and this is the thumbnail style right now. And you can definitely see the eras and the trends that happen on these platforms. But yeah, I would just say be on those platforms and see how things are evolving, see what's hitting, and inform yourself off that. You're not going to get too far by just doing without thinking about it. You've definitely got to really read the room, see where you're at, see what's working, and put your own twist on it.
Yeah, be intentional in your discovery.
For sure.
I like that. I also learn by the people around me, similar to Annie. Where I sit at my desk, I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who are super, super into esports. So I'm always listening to their conversations. I'm oh, could you tell me more about that? Right. Or there's certain things that are happening in other gaming communities that I'm not a part of, such as, I'm so ingrained in Call of Duty, Rocket League, and Valorant because those are the games that our professional teams compete in. But yeah, League of Legends or Apex, I have coworkers who are really into those esports, and so I can kind of learn from them. We also, which is really helpful, shout out to our PR and communications team. They send out our like a weekly newsletter that kind of like grabs articles and, you know, stuff about gaming and esports from out on the internet. And they kind of package that up really nicely for us. And I do read them. I look at them and I read them because they're so helpful, just to kind of see what else is going on in the industry.
I want to give a huge shout out to Cassie from the Version1 Rocker team. Huge, but I think all of us can say the same. So yeah, she is amazing. She is the reason why this panel is happening right now. Just to be honest with you, she has just been so diligent in making sure that the community and Version1 Rocker relationship has continued throughout these last 2 years. So big shout out to Cassie for making sure that this is continuously happening. So you had mentioned Allie PR, and I'm like, I cannot go without saying shout out to Cassie if you're shouting out PR. So
yes,
shout out to Cassie.
Cassie
She's on vacation right now.
Alta,
so.
our new PR intern. They're both fantastic.
Yes, Alta. Big shouts to Alta.
Shout out to Alta, yeah. And hey, this is what it's about, right? Cassie right now is on vacation, as she should be, okay? So
Yeah.
It's not something for us to like shamelessly say anything about her in the chat or anything like, oh, I can't believe Cassie's on vacation. Cassie deserves vacation. We all deserve a little PTO or a little OOO sometimes. So, you know, big shout out to Cassie.
I wonder if her ears are burning on the beach right now. She's like, I feel like people are talking about me.
I would love it. And good things.
Yes.
Anything from you, Kenzee, as how you stay hip with all of the esports and gaming trends?
Yeah, for sure. My algorithm for most of my social media is not gaming, which I kind of like it that way because I get to see a lot of I see all of our stuff that we post. And I can see that type of gaming. And then, I have my Twitter that has a lot of gaming and stuff like that. But I like that my content is a little bit different because then it kind of opens my brain to be like, okay, like how can I take this trend that has nothing to do with gaming and how can we make that gaming? Because it's really popular right now and it's really funny. And I'm the queen of sending my friends 80 TikToks and they're like, do you do anything else? And I'm like, yeah, I do. But I also do this. So and it's fun. And so sometimes I'll send, to some people on the content team, this is really funny. You should remake this and you should redo this. And it would be really funny if you did this. And I get to see, the other side of, the algorithm and seeing the different trends on that side of what's really funny right now in this community, what's trending across, all across the board on everybody would find this funny. This could be a funny meme if we just turned it into this. So always, looking at things that are not gaming and seeing hey, how can we make this into gaming? Because it is popular, and it is funny and people like it. How can we also tie it into our stuff? And then it becomes relatable on all levels.
I love that. And the fact that your team is receptive to your input. That's major. A lot of people, it's not the same type of situation to where I can present something to my content creation team and say, hey, this meme is going crazy on TikTok right now or going crazy on Instagram. How can we make this more related to gaming and esports? Let's talk about Hogwarts. Let's talk about, hey, listen, I'm throwing things out there because these are the few little things that I know of based off of social media myself. So, I hope that people in the chat see me as, somebody that's a little bit professional when I'm talking about these games, but understanding that dynamic is very rare, especially within esports and gaming cultures. One, first and foremost, somebody coming and telling me what I can do a little bit better. It's wait a second, but then also a woman coming to me and saying that this is how you can make it better. It's okay, so super kudos. And I think just all around the fact that Version1 Rocker has this type of structure within yourselves internally to be able to be that outspoken and be able to give criticism and feedback and actually be taken into consideration for there to be a new iteration of a product or project, which is very, very rare. So big shout out to the company that you all work for. So I will end this segment with this question. If you can, give a 1 to 2 sentence phrase that you can spread a little fairy dust on to all of the other women or other esports and gaming professionals that want to know, what is a key tip or a quick tip that you would give me? Does not have to be gaming and esports related, does not have to be based off Version1 Rocker, but just as you as a person, what is something that you kind of coin a phrase and this is what you would give back to any person that you talk to?
Ooh.
Whatever
I have-
progress you're making, kick the door open behind you for the next person.
That's awesome. Yeah. Can you actually just repeat that, Annie? Let's make sure that the people hear it.
Whatever progress you're making, kick the door open behind you for the next person.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's so nice of you to open the door for me.
You opened the door for me.
Come on, yes, opening doors for everyone.
One thing, I mean, my answer like 10 years ago would have probably been like, keep it real. So like, keep that in mind because it's still kind of there. But also like something I've been living by recently is just like, you are stronger than the things you think you can't do. So that's the first thing that kind of came to my mind. But if you are doubting yourself or others around you are doubting you, you know, and I know it's super corny, trust me, I hate corny stuff, but like you really are stronger than the things you think you can't do. And it takes the focus and the passion and the grind. So yeah, keep it real. And then, you know, you're strong. Let's go and kick open a door on your way. Why not?
Hey, why not? Awesome.
I think mine would be you only need to fill the shoes that you're setting out for yourself. So you only need to be unapologetically and authentically yourself.
That's
Love
great.
that. What everything that they said.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Just ditto all of them.
Honestly. Yeah, like what I had in my head was literally like a combination of all those things. So kudos to them.
I love that. No, and that even just shows the synergy between you all, right? Is the fact that there are certain things that you're giving, certain plugs, key tips that probably you have faced within yourself, right? Like a majority of when I ask this question, just to anybody in general, we're like, what's your key phrase? Like something that I always say is my mom says that can't is not in a woman's vocabulary. That's something that's major. My mom always says that there's 24 hours in a day. What are you going to do with it? So like those just like key phrases to me will always stick into my head, but it's only because I went through certain things that made those key phrases stick to where there was somebody that told me that I can't do something. And I'm like, bump you. Yes, I can. There is nothing that I can't do. And not only will I do this, but I will do it so exceptionally that you're going to lose your job because I did it better than you. Okay. Like that's how boss I am. Same with my 24 hours in a day. Like nope. If you tell me I can't work 2 or 3 jobs, you gotta be joking. Well, hey, this was like before COVID. So I am not suggesting to anybody in esports and gaming to work more than 1 job because this will take up your entire life. I'm just thinking in the fact that there are 24 hours in a day. What am I going to do with it? I am going to make sure that I am the most progressive, making sure that I am organized, making sure that I am meeting those just goals and deliverables that I have for myself on a day-to-day basis. So it's only because these phrases that you all are saying right now, you're saying them because you have went through something to make you say that phrase and that it's sticking in your mind for us to give back to other people that are probably in your same shoes that you were a year, 2 years, 5, 10 years ago to say, this is what pushed me to this next limit. So just want to say super big shout out to all of you. First and foremost, understanding the fact that you are in a career that a lot of people literally dream of being in. I just want to say thank you for paving this way. Thank you for being the trailblazer that a lot of people were genuinely scared to be. Thank you for going against the grain and saying, hey, I might have a background. Okay, and I'm not speaking to you, Ashley, but everyone else, I might have a background in something else that then has transferred over into this. But then there are people like Ashley that is like, no, I genuinely love this. And I want to have a career in this. So you all are speaking to things that I think all of our listeners, our streamers, our viewers will be able to relate to and say, I see myself in Ashley. I see myself in Kenzee. I see myself in Annie. I see myself in Allie, to then be able to take this and say, these are the reasons why I am in the position I am today. And fingers crossed, we will get success stories off of this panel of saying, hopefully we can say that people are even working at Version1 Rocker because they listened to this panel, they saw that you all have broke that glass ceiling and trailblazed for them to be able to be in this position. But even if not in that specific realm, there are so many other ways that I know people are going to take this information and be able to implement it today. So thank you all so much for this amazing panel, and super excited. Once again, shameless plug, March 27th on this exact Twitch, 5 to 10 p.m. Make sure you're there. $5,000 prize pool, Call of Duty tournament, 8 teams, HBCUs, and rocker captains. Yep, it's just like a quick little thing that I'm going to throw in there. But want to make sure that we are promoting as much as possible all of the events that we have with our amazing partners at Version1 Rocker, which we have been partners with for 2 years, been giving out scholarships of $5,000 to HBCU students, and also making sure that we're leveling out the playing field for any BIPOC communities and students as much as possible. So big shout out to the work that you all are doing, and let's continue to give big GG.
GG's in the chat, baby.
Yeah,
Thanks for
literally,
having
in the
us.
chat right now. It's like GG.
Oh.
Yeah,
GG's in the chat.
yes, thank you all so much, and super excited. If you don't tune in to us on the 27th, do not forget, Ashley, just remind me, the April
1st and then May 6th, rockertickets.gg.
There we go.
Even got a VIP package. You get lots of cool stuff. We go crazy. I'm excited. Man.
And this is not an April Fool's joke.
No,
It's
it's for serious. It's
Serious.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. Have an
Thank you.
amazing Tuesday, and we will talk to each other soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
you so
thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.